Hi, I'm Spira. Welcome to my channel where I like to focus on yoga, TRE, mindfulness, and other modalities that I personally use to work on my own trauma healing. First of all, I know it's been a while since I've made any videos, and that is on me. Again, as you know, I'm another person with trauma just like you, and I've been dealing with my own stuff, not the trauma itself right now, but definitely depression and low motivation. And I know that if you are out there that you can understand this. So my apologies for that. And also I am recording right now from Puerto Rico. I'm in the middle of a heat wave here in Vieques Island. I'm visiting a friend, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to get off my butt and make another video for you. So a couple years ago, I made a video on TRE, trauma release exercise. And this is a modality that I use regularly and that I've been using for a few years now. The video did really well. I got a lot of views, and with that, I got a lot of questions. I did cover some of these in the video, but I thought it might be a nice idea to make a separate video addressing them and see if you have any of these same questions. Question number one, is it important to do all of the exercises? Yes and no. So when you first start out, it is a good idea to do all of the exercises. Over time, you'll find that your body can tremor very easily without the exercises. And if that's the case for you, you can skip them. That's okay. Over time, you'll find that you don't need them at all. However, I did ask this question to Dr. Berselli, and what he said I thought was really interesting. He said, of course, if you don't need the exercises, you don't have to do them. But once in a while, it might be a good idea to do them anyway, just to see how that changes or shifts your practice. Number two, how often should I be tremoring? So we've got a general guideline for everyone, and then of course, everyone is different, and so that will change things too. So the general guideline is to practice maybe 3 times a week, so every couple of days. And your tremoring session, now not the exercises, the tremors themselves, that can be about 15 minutes. This is a very generalized rule, and it's a guideline. And so I guess I shouldn't even use the word rule, but this is a guideline, and that's all it is. So keep that in mind. If you are the kind of person who has done a lot of work through your body, a lot of somatic healing modalities, you can definitely tremor more. Again, I talked to Dr. Berselli about this, and he said never tremor within 24 hours. So you want to leave at least 24 hours between tremoring sessions. For me personally, I was able to tremor every day for a number of months without any issues. And that's because I had been practicing yoga for a long time. I had already started to move that energy out of my body. For someone who's just starting out, if you haven't gotten any kind of therapy or any therapeutic services, and you've never done any somatic modalities, anything to release the trauma from your body, it might be a better idea for you to tremor maybe 5 minutes. And for some people, believe it or not, even less. I need you to keep in mind that if you do have a lot of trauma, it's also not recommended that you tremor on your own. It is recommended that you work with a provider so that they or me, whoever you work with, can help you through that through titration and pendulation. What that means is we come into it slowly and we back out before you get dysregulated. And there's another sub question. Dysregulation is when you go into fight or flight. It might feel like panic mode. It might feel like freeze mode. We don't want that. This particular practice is to avoid that. And so you want to work with a provider, but if you really need to do it on your own, please just go really, really slowly. On the other end of the spectrum, there are people like me. Like I said, I've done it I've done it daily at the most. And also I have tremored for more than 15 minutes. Personally, my body just loves it. Again, I've been doing body work for a long time, so it's very comfortable for me. And I can tremor 45 minutes to an hour easily without even batting an eye. I just put my mat in front of the TV, watch a movie or a TV show, and I have a great time. So use your judgment and base that on where you're at in your healing process. Number 3, I don't get tremors at all, what do I need to do? I have a couple of different responses for this one. For one, always consider working with a provider. Even though Dr. Briselli does want this modality available to everyone, and that's why I share it, and I'm happy to do so, sometimes it is just better to work with a provider because they can help you get to that place, to get you to the tremors. Some people have a tendency to overthink, and if you get in your head about it too much, that can keep the tremors from coming. So if you decide to keep trying, don't give up, just keep trying, and remember, as I said in the original video, breathe. Breathe through your belly and focus on the breath. So for example, if you're anticipating too much, you're up here and you're thinking about the tremors. Instead, bring your awareness to your abdomen and take full deep breaths and really focus on the sensation of breathing, and that will help to take your mind off of the tremors and back into your body. Hopefully that will help. But the bottom line is, don't give up, keep trying, keep practicing, it will happen. Number 4, I have done this, I've tried it, but my tremors are really tiny. I'm only feeling like little micro tremors in my legs. Guess what? That is okay. That means it's working. So I want you to try, if you can, to take your mind off of how big or small the tremors are, because the tremors themselves have different purposes. Bigger tremors are great for some of the larger muscles in your body, especially if you have a lot of tension stuck in the muscles. You might find that you have some big movements and big tremors. That's okay. Maybe try not to go too crazy and hurt, we don't want to hurt yourself. You probably won't, but just in case, you can kind of reel it in a little bit if you think about it while you're tremoring. So that's one. But also, the larger tremors, as I said, are for like bigger muscles, and the smaller tremors are great to go a little bit deeper, and we're talking about like deeper into the fascia and all of the stuff that is underlying the muscles, the nervous system and everything. So there's nothing better or worse as far as the size of the tremors go. It's simply a matter of different tremors have a different purpose. So please do not think that if you're tremoring pretty mildly that it's not working or it's not as effective, because that is definitely not the case. In fact, try, if you can, also to welcome the tremors, welcome them with your curiosity. Notice the tremors. Say, oh wow, my tremors are like this today. Interesting. Isn't that interesting? Okay, I really want to emphasize that. Be curious and get your head out of it. That's hard, I know, but just be aware of it, okay? Number 5. How do I get the tremors to move from my lower body into my upper body? This is very common. Again, you have a couple of options here. One is to work with a provider. We are trained to help move the tremors into the upper body. And 2 is, like I said for the last one, is don't give up. Just keep practicing, take your time. Eventually, they should make their way up into your upper body, but be prepared to be patient about it. Be prepared for it to maybe not happen for a month or 2 or 3 or longer. A lot of it has to do with how much tension you have in your body, and also the tremors, as I've mentioned before, your body has its own intelligence, and the tremors will know when it's okay to move up further in the body. So bottom line, work with a provider or just be patient and keep practicing. Number 6, I tried this a few times and now I get random tremors here and there or throughout the day. This is kind of a funny side effect. It can happen. It's nothing to be afraid of, and there's nothing wrong. It depends on where you're at. If you're at work and you've got some tremors coming up in your hands, I think that was one of the questions, maybe just pause, stand up, stomp your feet a little bit, get grounded, okay? Or you can do this in your chair. You can just get your feet on the ground, feel your feet on the ground, maybe just make some fists, maybe squeeze your hands, take some full deep breaths, just get grounded again, and the tremors will stop. One of the things that can happen is that Pardon me if you can hear it. There's a rooster singing right now. My apologies. Again, I'm in Puerto Rico, which is kind of funny. But as I was saying, one of the funny things that can happen is sometimes when you feel really relaxed, your body can take that as a sign. Oh, it's safe to tremor right now. So again, just take it with a grain of salt, but you can make them stop by just, getting grounded, grounding your feet, grounding into your hands. Okay, I hope that helps. Number 6, I tried tremoring and I did not feel well. This is a very, very important situation. If you have a lot of trauma and you are very new to this, I cannot emphasize this enough. It is always best to work with a provider, because working with a provider will keep you grounded and will keep you from getting dysregulated. If you feel any nausea, stop immediately. Just stop tremoring. If you feel anxiety, stop tremoring. Get grounded. Remember what I said about grounding exercises, right? Get your feet on the floor, squeeze your hands, get up, get a drink of water, get back into your physical body. If you feel spacey or lightheaded or like numbness or tingling in the face or anything, stop tremoring, okay? These are signs that you are getting out of your body and maybe into your head, and we want to make sure that that doesn't happen when you're doing this exercise. And again, this is another reason why you might just consider working with a provider, because they can help with that particular situation. Number 7, can I tremor on my bed? Yes, you can tremor on your bed. You can tremor in a chair. Some people can even tremor standing up. I actually tried it before and it was kind of a funky experience, but I have tremored just sitting back on my sofa. Again, maybe just watching a movie or something. It's totally okay. There are no specific hard rules as far as where you tremor and when. So take that wherever you want to take it. Number 8, will TRE help with my chronic pain? Because I mentioned this in the original video, that it helps me with my chronic pain, the answer is I cannot guarantee it. However, I can tell you from my personal experience that it does help me with my chronic pain. Oftentimes, our chronic pain comes from holding all of that tension in your body, and in many cases for years, right? And so it can cause our body to just be clenched up all the time. And when you practice TRE regularly, it'll help keep the body a little bit looser, because literally it shakes, it shakes the tension out. And as I've mentioned before, I have scoliosis, I have rotator cuff tendonitis, and I have cervical disc degeneration. I used to get muscle spasms every single day, for a good 25 years to 30 years or so. I don't get them every day anymore. The only time I get them now is if I don't tremor for maybe a week, because the tension starts to come in and get stuck again. So this is a regular practice. This is a maintenance practice. Try to keep that in mind. You want to keep doing it regularly for your chronic pain, for your trauma release, for your tension, for your anxiety. Number 9, will TRE cure my trauma? There's bad news and good news. Okay, first of all, there is no cure for trauma. And frankly, I would have a hard time believing anyone who said that they have healed their trauma. The best that we can hope for is to reduce our symptoms. Now, I'm sure that there are people out there who have been successful in reducing their symptoms to practically nil, but you do have to continue the practices, whatever it is that's working for you. You do have to continue the practices. Ultimately, there is no I'm done, I'm cured kind of thing, But what this does for me personally, and again, that's the most that I can share with you, is having this regular practice makes me feel so much better than not having this practice and not having any practice. So if you're working with trauma, there's no end goal. The goal is of course, there's the journey itself, but the goal is to just feel better. Feel better than you did yesterday. Feel better than you did 5 years ago. I know from my own experience that I do feel better. I function better in my daily life, much better when I practice these tools regularly, not just TRE, I have other trauma healing tools, when I practice them regularly. If I stop, the symptoms start to come back. And some of the symptoms never quite go away. I do still deal with depression. It's one of my comorbidities. That's the word that we use when you have this designated mental illness. For example, depression tends to be in its own category, but it's also a comorbidity of trauma. So they kind of come hand in hand. Anxiety is as well. So I know that if I stop, that those things can come back and just make me feel uncomfortable again. So do try to keep a regular practice, and also try to remember that it doesn't have to be a lot. Even if you only tremor 3 times a week, 10 minutes, 15 minutes before bed, that's a great maintenance practice. And I think you'll find that it will help your quality of life. I can't guarantee anything, but I'm pretty sure it will. So there's that. And number 10, this is actually related to an earlier question of someone who felt worse the next day. They didn't sleep well, they felt angsty, unsettled, a little anxious. So I want to go back to that one again. If something like this happens for you, please stop tremoring. Take a break, and when you come back to it, only tremor for about a minute, and that's it. Wait a couple of days, allow your body some time to integrate everything through your nervous system, and then try again. Tremor for 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes the second time. Really consider working your way up slowly. Okay, that's titration. You're working in very slowly. And pendulation is just the concept of backing out and then coming back in again. Because when you back out and come back in, you will be able to go a little further. You will be able to tremor for maybe 5 minutes and then take a couple days off, try again. You might be able to tremor for 10 minutes before feeling uncomfortable. So it's really important that you monitor what is going on in your body while you're tremoring. And again, the best way to do that is to not think about the tremoring itself, but it is to focus on the breath and to focus on the actual physical sensations in your body while you're tremoring. That is the most important part. I cannot stress it enough. So I'm going to say it again. Don't focus on the tremors. Don't think about the tremors. Think about your breath and any sensations going on in your physical body. And this is going to help you as you move along through your practice. So that is it for my questions. If you have any more questions, please put them in the comments below. If there's something that I haven't answered for you, I will absolutely get to it. I'm really making an effort to get back into making videos again. And I thank you for your patience. Thank you for visiting my channel. And I wish you the best in healing. May you be happy, may you be peaceful, and may you be free from suffering. Namaste.